Okay, so firstly you want to open Illustrator, and then once you've opened Illustrator you want to go to File, New, and I'm going to name mine Wrap because that's what I'm tracing. And then I want to select the size as A3, which will give you these exact measurements, and change the orientation to landscape in order for it to be easy to trace for me. And then after that it will present me with this artboard, as where if I was in Photoshop it would give me a canvas, and I just want to drag my image into the artboard, and then if I hold shift whilst dragging the image in order to make it bigger, it will maintain its quality. So once I feel the image is big enough for me to trace, I can leave it there, and then I want to select the pen tool, and then I just want to draw around the body first. Okay, and then once I've drawn around the body, I can load up my layers, and if I press this arrow key I can see all the paths that I've made. And I'm just going to finish by drawing around the tail. Okay, and once I've drawn around the tail, I think my image is complete. I can scroll down to the linked file, which is the image that I originally dragged into my artboard, and then if I click the eye tool it will make the image invisible, so I can just see what my drawing looks like. And then with the paths, if I click the selected path it will show me what the path is. So here I have this outline which I drew in the first place. Oops. And using the move tool it will give me the bounding box, and I can either make it bigger or I can make it smaller or keep it the same size. So say if I think the towel is too big, I can select the part of the towel, so select the path, and then I can decrease the size, and then just drag it back to fit on nicely. Yeah. If you want to redraw a part of your animal, then firstly you're gonna have to erase it. And then go back to your paintbrush and draw over. But as you can see, these are two separate paths. So when I shift click, you can see this is a separate path to this. And then in order to combine them, you need to go to Object, and then Path, and then Join. And then that will combine them so they're all one path. Right, to add a symbol you need to go over to Symbols, and then you need to go over to Symbol Libraries menu, and we're going to select the vector one, and then just drag in the symbol which you want, and this will prompt the symbol with the bounding box around it. And with this we don't need to shift, and we don't need to shift when we change the size of the bounding box of the image, because it's vector and the resolution will stay the same no matter how big or small it is. So then going to drag it to where you want it, and then after this you want to double click the image, and then click OK. And right here you can notice this at the top, it isolates the image. This means that you've just got the image, so you just edit in the image, and the rest of your artboard is blacked out or grayscaled out. You can go over to your colour guide, and then through this, if you want to make sure it's green, you can change the colour. So say if I want it like a sort of pinky colour, powdery colour, I can change it. Alright, so firstly you want to paste your cropped image, which you cut out in Photoshop, onto your artboard, and then you want to change the size using the bounding box. As well, if you hold shift whilst changing the size, then it maintains its quality. So then you just drag it to whereabouts you want it, and after this you want to go to Object, Live Trace, and Tracing Options. I'm going to click Preview so I can see what I'm doing, and I click Ignore White, so that means the background becomes transparent, and I'm going to change the mode to grayscale. After this I'm going to change the max colours to 2, so this means that there's only going to be 2 colours, which is literally just black and white. I'm going to keep it at 256, which means it has 256 types of grey, and as you can see it's more detailed because there's more colours. If I wanted to add more detail to my eye on my image here, I want to select it, so it selects the path, and I'm going to go to Object, Live Trace, Tracing Options, and click Preview, so when I make a change I can see it without clicking Trace, and then I'm going to click Ignore White, so it removes the white background. I'm going to change the mode to colour, and then I'm going to change the max colours to just 16. And when I change it to 16, you can see that although the image is quite detailed, it is still quite bland. As well, if I change it to the max colours, which is 256, you can see the detail is improved significantly. Okay, so firstly you want to head over to your floating panel, and then you want to head over to your graphic styles, and then in your graphic styles you just want to head over to the bottom left and click the graphic styles folder, and this will prompt the sort of various different graphic styles. So I'm going to select textures, and it will load all the different textures that I can have with my graphic. So if I select one of my graphics here, and then I just double click on the texture that I want, it will change the graphic to that texture. So for instance, we can see it's more like it's more glowing. Within my symbols library, there are some symbols here that I used earlier for different projects, but I don't need them anymore for this project. So I'm going to click select all unused. I'm just going to put them in the bin, and now I've got only the symbols that I used for this project. And now I can make my eye into a symbol or anything that I'd like. And you've got to change the type to graphic, click OK. So now I can use this symbol for any project that I like, and I could also use it on here again if I wanted to. And I'm going to save this, so I'll go back down to the drop down menu and click Save Symbol Library. And then I can go down here to the symbol library and then just load the preset. So that's my library that I just saved. And then after this, I can also make my whole work into a symbol as well. Change the type to graphic. This means that the whole symbol will act as like one path, however. So like when I apply an effect, it will change everything on it. So if I go down to graphic styles, and then I go down to the presets and neon effects, if I choose an effect, okay, so now that's done, you can see that I changed the effect of everything, because all the paths are connected, they're all one path. So although it's a symbol, and I can drag it onto my image as many times as I like, whenever I will apply an effect, it will change the whole thing. So in order to overcome this, I need to go to edit and undo graphic styles. But as well, if I was in Photoshop, I could just go to my history palette, and then I could go back to revert this change, which would be easier. But however, Illustrator does not have a history palette. So okay, so firstly, you want to go over to your symbols palette, and you can see all the symbols that I already have in my library. And to load them, you just want to go over to the furthest button, and then go down to user defined and untitled, or whatever you named your symbols as, which will open your symbols palette. Okay, so you could drag your symbols on to your artboard, but instead you could go down to your symbol sprayer tool and then just spray your symbols on. So you can spray them all over your artboard. And then some other options which you have is going down to the shifter tool, which this simply just moves all the symbols which you select. You can move it wherever on your artboard you want. And after this, you can go to your sizer tool, which if you hold down, left click on the image or on the symbol, the longer you hold it, the more the image increases. So if I hold it down for a while, this symbol will increase dramatically. There's also a spinner tool, where if I drag a symbol on and I go to symbol spinner, I can then hold down my left click and then just drag around in which direction I want my symbol to end up in. So if I want to rotate this 90 degrees, I'll drag it roughly 90 degrees and then it will turn. Okay, so if I drag a symbol in Illustrator and then go down to the symbol stainer tool, make sure it's selected, and then if I click it, it'll make the image darker depending on how many times I click it. So if I keep clicking it, it'll increase the darkness. Is where if I hold Alt whilst I click it, it'll make the image gradually lighter depending on how many times I click it. So as you can see, I clicked it a few times and now it's back to its original state. Okay, the symbol screener pretty much has the same effect, but with transparency. So if I just click it, it will increase the opacity and the transparency. As well, if I hold Alt, so if I hold Alt whilst I click it, and it will decrease the opacity and the transparency.
Piss off. Oh, you're fucked, you know. No, you're fucked.
Why?
Just fucking
Okay, so in Illustrator here, we can see that when I select an image here, it will say at the top in the control panel, it will say group. So when I select these paths that I've drawn, you can see that the bounding boxes around it, and we can refer back to the control panel to see that I've selected the path. This is different from when in Photoshop, because in Photoshop, the control panel is actually referred to the tool options panel, so it's different. Okay, so here in Illustrator, if I select my path here, then I can see that it's selected by the blue bounding box, and also if I refer back to the control panel, it says path up here at the top left. So once that I know it's selected, I can head over to the flighting panel here and then select colours, and then I can just pick a colour which I desire. So say if I want to pick green here, it will just fill the path in with the colour green. Okay, so there are multiple ways where you can change the size of your stroke in Illustrator. So for instance, if I go to my project here and then I select the path which I want to change, I can see that it's selected by the blue bounding box around it, and also if I go to the control panel at the top left, it will say path. So here I can go to stroke, and then if I click the drop down menu, I can either decrease or increase the size. So I can change it to 10 here, and then we can see that it will change the path size to 10. I could also head over to the flighting panel and then select stroke, and here I can change the weight of the stroke. So again with the drop down panel. See here it's increased by 20. Okay, so within Illustrator you can actually change the transparency of any of your images or paths here. So for instance, if I select this image and go over to my floating panel and click transparency, I can change the opacity down. So let's say if I change it down to 26, you can see that the image then becomes more transparent. Obviously, the greater the opacity, the less transparent it will be.